Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is the Neato Frames Fastback, and unfortunately Neato Frames have discontinued making these style of quadcopters. They are coming out with different kits here soon. However, they're not going to be these kind of designs. They're going to be more of kind of like a floss type of design for racing, I suppose. This particular build here is going to have the HGLRC XJB F440 with the TX20 version 2. It's going to have the Hyperlite motors. These are the 2205, 2722 kVs. It's also going to have a Split Mini from RunCam, and also the FrSky RXSR. It's going to have a little dipole antenna, and then it's going to have a connector that was included in this kit here. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but Neato Frames is no longer building these. I'm hoping maybe eventually they'll change their mind, because these are truly unique. I love their designs. I love the way they try to protect the electronics, which is the expensive part of our quadcopters. So we'll see what they have to offer in the future. I know I've promised to have new videos every week, and I really apologize, guys, but since January I've been working on this house. It's supposed to be a small remodel project, turned into an absolute headache, because I live in a money pit that's 100 years old, and so anytime you try to work on the house, you have to undo a bunch of stuff, and I mean, it's just, anyway, it's a mess. So I'm back. I'm starting to do builds again and reviews. So anyway, I'm going to get started with this. One thing I wanted to point out as well is that the Fastback frame was made for a regular full-size FC. And of course the XJB is 20 by 20. So I'm going to do is I have this mounting plate here that I'm going to go from the standard pattern down to 20 by 20 using this plate here. And I'm just going to have it soft mounted on grommets. So that's what we're going to do. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the FC and also the 4-in-1 ESCs down below on the bottom, the FC right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and mount the Split Mini, the two boards that come with that, on top of this, and then to top it off, I'll be using the transmitters, so that I'm able to just take the 4 screws off and then get in here and change the channels if I have to. So that's what's going to go on. So I'm going to get started on this, drill out this little plate for the 20 by 20 mounting pattern, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so I'm back here with the build, and as you can see, I have it completed. Very simple build. HGLRC has a really good pictures. There's 2 pictures there, how to hook up the FC to the TX20. The ESCs, the 4-in-1 ESCs, just plug into the main flight controller board. As you can see here on the top, I have in the middle actually, I have the RunCam Mini, the 2 boards there, and on the top I put the TX20 version 2. I did not run the control wire for the RunCam Mini, because I just have it set up. I set it up so it automatically records as soon as it turned on, so I don't really need that on my TX. And if I want to make any adjustments to that, I can just do that through my goggles. So in the buttons. I mounted the TX20 version 2 on the top. I did hook up the wire so I can change the frequencies and stuff like that on the radio through the goggles. So that's really nice. If you see the little blue pad, I did a unboxing, and I kind of put this together, the RunCam Mini. There's a little pad that goes between the 2 boards. You want to keep that there. It's for heat distribution. It works as a thermal pad, kind of like a CPU in a computer to its heat sink. It's the same thing. They use the top board as a heat sink, and they use the SD card. I think they use the SD card little metal clip there as kind of a heat sink as well. So one thing too on the microphones on these splits aren't very good. So what I did is there's a microphone that fits underneath the plate that holds the SD card in. I put a little piece of foam. I kind of sandwiched it in there. It kind of helps out a little bit with noise. very, very simple build. I put the buzzer straight off the back, just welded it straight to the board here. You know, here's my capacitor, and it does fit underneath the canopy. The canopy is very nice. It's made out of TPE. It's very, very strong. Very, very strong. So it's going to take a heck of a beating. As you can see, I raised up the camera using a piece of oak. I didn't have a nice piece of plastic for that. And I sandwiched in 2 pieces of, oh, there are these for like gimbals. I had a couple laid around, but basically it's just to make it so that it acts as an it acts as like an anti-vibration dampener for the camera, because these RunCam splits, they tend to have a rolling shutter if you have any vibrations whatsoever. It's just part of being a CMOS camera, so you want to put a little bit of dampening in there. And what I did is I put 2 longer screws all the way through the piece of oak to the bottom of the frame here, so it's very, very strong. It's on there really good, so I don't have to worry about that. On the TX20 version 2, I just used some hot glue. I brought I turned it 180 degrees so that the antenna would go across here, and I just hot glued it, and that way there's no way for this to get into the propellers. I also switched around the impellers to run the opposite directions in Betaflight, and the reason why is to keep stuff from clogging up on my lens, like grass and stuff like that, so it whisks it away instead of towards it and plugs up my lens. I often at times have a problem with my other quads like that, so I just set them up to opposite direction. You notice in the flight video that I have coming up that, because I went ahead and flew this today for the maiden flight, it was going to rain today, I thought, so I wanted to get up there real quick. And you notice there's a lot of vibrations and stuff like that with the RunCam Mini. Part of that is because I had it set to 30 frames per second as opposed to 60. I noticed with these RunCam splits, and I did that because I was testing it here on the bench, and by running it 30 frames per second as opposed to 60 frames per second, it kind of keeps the board a little bit cool, because the RunCam Mini boards really do get hot. So I was just doing some, and I forgot to set it back to 60. So the thing is, with the 60 frames per second, it kind of gets rid of a lot of that rolling shutter and the vibrations and stuff like that. So I had it set to 30 today. Plus, I also forgot to tighten down these screws right here on the frame, so the arms were loose, and I didn't realize that until I got home. So the video coming up, you'll see some vibrations and stuff in that, and that's pretty much my fault. It was not tightened down properly. These things were actually, the arms were moving back and forth. What else is there? Oh, also too, on the RXSR receiver, I went ahead and I took I pulled off of there's a pad on there listed as P. And I pulled a wire off of that and hooked it up to the main flight controller, because it's inverted, and this way it allows me to run that Lewis script, so I can adjust my my PIDs on my QX7. Other than that, it is very solid using that plate that I drilled out. Very, very solid. And it's also really easy just to loosen up these 4 screws here, these 4 nuts, and kind of lift up the stack a little bit, and that way I can put a new battery strap underneath here, thread in a new one in just in case I break a battery strap. So the receiver wires, I just put them straight out to the side here on zip ties, and then I just doubled up on the shrink tubing, so they're nice and stiff. They're short enough where even if I hit something on there, they're not going to get into the props, and that's what I wanted. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And then with the shell on, which goes on with just these 4, I really wish that Neato Frames would reconsider discontinuing this frame, at least this one right here, because it is so innovative. I mean, a lot of us are really not into racing. We don't care about the lifetime warranty on the arms and stuff, because they were offering a lifetime warranty, and I think it was becoming a problem for them, because a lot of guys were using this for racing, and of course with racing you're going to break some arms and stuff. And they're not operating out of China, so they don't get the cheap labor over there in China. They're operating here in the United States. But if they would just offer the frame without the lifetime warranty for a decent price, and just keep it around, because I really think it's an innovative product. I mean, this shell right here, this TPE stuff, I flew it today, hit a couple branches, hit a tree with it. I mean, this stuff just takes a heck of a beating, and it didn't do anything to it. So I really hope they reconsider you know, keeping this one around and not making it legacy. So with that said, on this here, as you can see, I cut a little opening here so I can just put my USB in here and then just extract the video so I don't have to take the canopy on and off. Works out real well there. It doesn't really weaken it or anything, as I found out today, because like I said, I hit a couple of the different things. It offered plenty of cooling. I didn't have any overheating problems with the RunCam Mini, and I didn't have any heating problems with the XJB 440, the HGLRC XJB 440 4-in-1 ESCs on this. They are 40 amp with 50 amp bursts, so I wasn't really. It's just amazing that they can put that in something that's about the size of my thumb. You know, it just amazes me. I did a lot of punch outs today. The motors here, these Hyperlite team edition motors, these are the 27 right here, 27 22s. Yeah, they really performed well. They were very, very efficient on. I was just running my Hyperion 1800 HV packs, and I was getting anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes flying. When I first started out, it was 10 minutes, but then I started, you know, just hauling ass as much as I could in the little park that I was testing this out in, and it got down to like 7-8 minutes. So it's extremely efficient with these. These are the dowel props. These are just the what are these things? 530s, I think they are. I can't remember. Yeah, I think they're 540s. So that's what they are. And these are the cyclones. Very, very efficient. Not a lot of grip. That's one thing I noticed when I was flying. It's really, really light. So let me weigh it in for you. It's a lot lighter than I'm used to. And so the throttle position that I have set up in beta flight right now is not going to work. I'm going to have to really tune this one in, because it is 305, and that's running the RunCam Mini. So that's 2 extra boards there. If you're just to take out the Mini and put in a RunCam Micro in this, you're going to shave off roughly, with wires, probably 12 grams. So that puts you underneath the 300 mark. And even with that big heavy battery, which I think is 170 some grams, this thing still flew really, really light compared to my other ones. And it could be the motors. These motors are really fast. So it just took me a little bit to get used to how this thing flies. Also, too, because of the vibrations, because the arms were vibrating back and forth, the feed that I was getting in my goggles was not great. So I really didn't have a lot of confidence today, and our trees around here haven't really, you know, bloomed yet. So I was having problems with ghost branches and everything else. I wasn't really feeling very confident about flying today because of all the ghost branches and stuff, and also the feed. So plus it was at 30 frames per second, and I know if you set these at 60 frames per second, the RunCams splits, even the feed that your FPV feed looks a lot better. So but anyway, I had fun today with it. It's definitely very fast. I do have to do some a little bit of changes and stuff. I don't get a lot of grip with these props going into corners and stuff like that. I noticed that. But they are a high HV motor, so that's kind of to be expected. So a little bit of tuning needs to be done. Very, very happy, very, very satisfied with this. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much the review. I'm going to have some flights coming up here, and I just really, I really hope that the guys over there at Neato, Justin and so on, I hope they rethink this and offer this frame from now on. One thing I also modified too is I'm not going to have a GoPro on this, because there's no need to. I already have a RunCam Mini in there, and it suits my needs. So I went ahead and rounded this down. This was set up for a little session on the top here. I had a little lip, so I just rounded it down with my Dremel tool, so that when I'm hitting branches and stuff, or if I'm hitting gates, then it just slides off. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the build here, and hopefully you enjoy the flight video. I'll be putting up more flight videos as time goes on and stuff, so that it will be a lot clearer. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the flight videos.